The story of the Sixers season and identity of this basketball team continues to be the strength of the young guards. But is their success a bit more attributed to one particular veteran leader than many of us have been led on to believe? Yes, I remember the frustrations of screaming when the news came in that Kyle Lowry would be back with the Sixers this year, but the veteran is proving that while it may not be on the court, he still has a very important role within the Sixers team. This is not me to argue that Kyle Lowry deserves any sort of minutes, but what I do want to do is recognize what he has done behind the scenes for this locker room and what the players are specifically speaking about it. So for starters, do want to acknowledge here that we saw Kyle Lowry get in his first action against the Brooklyn Nets in the first real blowout of the season. This made him it officially his 20th season in the NBA, and he became the 12th player in NBA's history to reach the 20 season mark. Pretty special stuff there. That is a very short list of ridiculous longevity that he has ultimately provided there. And again, I'm not here to make the case that he has stuff left in the tank to bring on the court, but what I can acknowledge before even bringing up these quotes is I'm seeing the level of care, the level of effort from Kyle Lowry, that he is riding referees and coaching sometimes harder than Nick Nurse on the sideline. I challenge you to, during a Sixers game, wander your eyes off to the other side of the court, look at the bench, and look what Kyle Lowry is doing, because it is constantly pointing, yelling, standing up, arguing with officials here in a way that I very much respect. And beyond just that, beyond just the passion, the clear energy within the game here, the behind the scenes, he has done quite a lot. And what brought me to this video here was this article from Adam Harrison of the Philly Voice here. Shout out to Sixers Adam, as he posts Tyrese Maxey on Kyle Lowry. Quote, "I've got nothing but love and respect for K-Low. He's like my leader. He comes to me and leads me, and I try and lead the team. So I couldn't do this without him, honestly, right now. The 20-year-old vet still makes an impact." And by the way, while he's not, providing the largest level of impact on the court, the dude still prepares like he does. He is one of the first guys in the arena. He is getting up shots hours before the game in a way that very few players still do, and I do appreciate the commitment. He does not look like it. It does look like he's packed on some LBs and should be a guy flipping burgers on the grill at this stage at the cookout there, but Kyle Lowry's still got some game and is proving it here. Now, to dive into more of these quotes for what some of his teammates are saying about him here, that Nick Nurse was asked about Kyle Lowry serving a leadership role since joining the Sixers. And what the head coach said is, quote, "He's really done a great job. I think being a part of our leadership group, and obviously players are pulling for him out there, you can see that he's well-liked, well-respected, and all that kind of stuff. It was good that he wanted to go in there. I guess he gets his 20th season officially in the books now by hitting the court. So that's good too. Who would have thought that for Kyle Lowry 20 years ago, right?" And that was, of course, this quote coming after that Nets victory there. And then Tyrese Maxey, the full quote about Kyle Lowry in his 20th NBA season. Maxey said, "He's old as hell, but he works out every day, works out hard every day. He's in there with me early. He rebounds, he screens, he watches VJ, he watches Jared. What he's doing for our team right now, he's cheering every single play. Like that's a Hall of Famer we're talking about. And you know what I'm saying? His jersey is probably getting retired in Toronto, and he's up cheering for everybody and motivating people and talking the locker room. Man, I've got nothing but love and respect for K-Law, and we appreciate having him." And the biggest piece of advice that Lowry has given him, and Maxey said, lead. He's like my leader. He comes to me and leads me, and I try to lead the team. So I couldn't do this without him, honestly, right now. He calls me at least 3 or 4 times a day, and we talk. But it's good, though. I'm glad he's here, and I appreciate him, and we appreciate him. And that is what I want to interject and say, is I understand that things do not show up in the stat sheet here. But when looking at this Sixers depth chart and acknowledging where the strengths of this team are, it is very clearly the youthful guards that they are. Not just Tyrese Maxey, but Jared McCain, Quentin Grimes, VJ Edgecombe. These are all guys that are still very early in their career arc, and having them reach their peak is the obvious goal from the organization. Having a veteran that is willing to just be an ear to him, to talk through problems that are going to pop up throughout the early portions of their NBA career is a great thing. And Kyle Lowry has been through all of this. This is an undersized guard that has been through it as a young player, that has figured out how to adapt to the NBA game. How do you impact winning at a high level? And how do you thrive in Nick Nurse's system, which he obviously did during his best years in Toronto there, who won a championship under Nick Nurse. So I do think there's value in having him around, even if it does not directly show in the box score. And my biggest concern with him coming back was the fact it was sacrificing a roster spot. When the guard rotation is as deep with young players as is currently the case, with Maxey, with McCain, with Grimes, and of course VJ Edgecombe, and finally all 4 being healthy here, it is not as big of a deal for that you can have a veteran like Kyle Lowry. And Eric Gordon, I think, is not as forward-facing in this conversation, but I think the relationship with VJ Edgecombe is incredibly relevant to note there. The fact that these guys competed together on the Olympics team that are obviously from the Bahamas, have a relationship there, that is why he's back to a massive extent as well. So again, these are not the finishing touches to a contender in the way that maybe they were first brought to Philadelphia with the expectation as, but what they are guys that are being incredibly influential in building out that next pathway. Now, as I mentioned, it is not just Tyrese Maxey that has been impacted, as I also wanted to put up the next page from Quentin Grimes here. And Quentin Grimes was asked on what it's like to see Lowry still in the NBA, and Grimes said, quote, "Been in the league for 20 years. He's seen it all. NBA championship. He knows what to look like out there. So when we're out there and not having the right energy or coming out a little flat, he's in our ear to pump us up, bring us all together. He gives us a good speech before every game to get us right mentally. So he's been a great presence, a great big brother, an unk for us. So it's great to have a guy like that in the locker room." And Grimes on Lowry has helped him individually. Quote, "How to be a pro. It's 20 years, and then he still comes in before practice, stays after practice. Doesn't do much practicing with us, but he's a big-time voice, and that matters a lot. Contributes to the team and helps us win. So just seeing how he comes in and every day prepared is definitely going to help me, I feel like, in the long run." And I will also note here, Quentin Grimes, man, do want to give a little bit more of a hat tip for a dude that's just saying all the right things and doing all the right things on the court. I at least was a little bit of concern of this offseason weirdness with the contract could creep into the season in a way that did have the risk of sort of, deterring this season or getting it off track to an extent here. Has not been the case whatsoever. That Grimes has been a model player, a model teammate, and a guy that has been bought in. He's speaking highly of the city of Philadelphia, the passion from the fan base. I give a lot of respect for being able to put that to this side. Now, it is in everyone's best interest that is the case, that Grimes kind of has to be on the best behavior because he will be a free agent this next year as well. But I still wanted to appreciate that is how things have started, that the vibes are immaculate here, as he tweeted himself. And the last page of quotes that I did want to pull up about Kyle Lowry here, starting from Trendon Watford, as he has on his reaction to Lowry being in his 20th season. And Watford said, "Crazy, bro. Being able to do this, I was telling him, damn, I can't even imagine doing this 15 more years. But I want to imagine it, though, because that's what I want to do. Kyle's a great teammate. He's been great for me. It's been great for a lot of guys around here, so I was glad to see him hit a three." And Kelly Oubre Jr. also chiming in saying, "He's a winner, man. He's a pro. He's done this at a very high level for a long time, longer than VJ's been alive. He's just an inspiration, honestly. He's done everything at the highest level that we all would wish to do. So just having him around and seeing him hit his first shot of the year, it brings so much life to the team. And he's our big brother, so we all root for him." And again, that is just a great message to be echoed all around there. While they're all stylistically different players, you can see how Kyle Lowry's impact and the things that he does do apply to each of these individual players. I mean, you can watch all the video posts from Jared McCain of him hanging out with Kyle Lowry and the TikToks and all that kind of thing, which I think is awesome, them having that sort of off-court bond. Maxey saying the fact that Lowry calls him 3 to 4 times a day, I think is a huge deal, that I think that's the guy that should have the most linear relationship, but I think I see the most similarities stylistically. Obviously, Kyle Lowry's never been able to move like Tyrese Maxey or even shoot like Tyrese Maxey, but still, that leadership presence that he's really taking on within this organization are stuff that Lowry is incredibly elite at. And even guys like VJ Edgecombe, guys like Quentin Grimes, just the experiences that he's been through. And for all the critiques of why isn't he just coaching, I think the honest answer there is it comes with a little bit better paycheck to be a bottom of the bench guy, and that is where Lowry ultimately ended on. I think the honest goal was last year was supposed to be the ride-off in the sunset season, and we all know how last year went from a Sixers perspective. This is finally a reset at this. It may not be the all-in push for a championship the way he signed on and expected to be, but you might end up being even more important than what that role even would have been by laying the foundation for the next generation. And that is not dismissing this team's chances at a championship completely. We are still in the early stage of the year and figuring out what this team's going to be, but you can't be mad about the start that they've gotten off to this point. So shout out to Kyle Lowry for continuing to buy in, for having a positive impact on this Sixers team as a whole. Shout out to you guys for tuning in this video here. We will see what the rest of the season has in store, but Kyle Lowry is going to be a part of it, and maybe more than we all realize. Appreciate you guys for tuning in one more time. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe button below, dropping a like on this video, give your thoughts in the comments, and we'll be talking with you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.